It's a relatively simple city. People have simple lives.
We're so welcoming and so warm,
I think Calcutta is very real.
talkative.
Embracing or accepting.
It's too unique as a city to me is a person. As much as a person has an identity, as much as a person has an identity.
And
also, traffic is not as bad. And its people relate to their city so much that it's inspiring.
So everything special about this city. We make Calcutta a happening place. No, but jokes apart, I think we're also really biased about our city. So if there's nothing happening around us, we find ways to make that happen. Even with say things like we built like Offbeat CCU with the Top Cat Retired Comedy Club, Top Cat as a music venue, and then along with all the Make Calcutta Relevant Again initiatives for entrepreneurs, for investors, for just changing the narrative around startups in the city as well. I think these have contributed to making Calcutta happening in recent times. But Calcutta, if you think about it, it's always been happening in its own way, right? In its little pockets, in its own little nooks and crannies. There's always been so much amazing energy around this city, which even last night I was at a party where I met a few people who are not from here, and all of them seemed so enamored by the idea of the city. I think for a first timer to come into the city, there's always something or the other happening, and I find so much inspiration from just the way that people build energy around themselves or around their own situations, and I think that's what makes Calcutta very happy.
I think I'd like to add on this that it is difficult to understand that Kolkata is happening if you are not located in the city. There is a very strong difference between a city that is happening and a city that is perceived as happening, or that shows great skilling at showcasing and packaging the fact that it is actually happening. And I have been living in Kolkata for the past 4 years. I can tell you, as Meghdut was saying, the amount of little circles and pockets of entrepreneurs and individuals that are just living their passion and trying to put their passion out there in the city is incredible. It's just that if you're not in the city, you would not know about this whole emulation, because you can only feel it the most strongly if you are actually based out of Kolkata. Let's do one. You start?
Okay. Uncomplicated.
You want to develop on this?
I don't know. Am I expected to develop? Yes, it's a city that does not put itself into too much patch. In Bangla we say patch, like a GDP. It does not complicate itself because it's a relatively simple city. People have simple lives. People have simple aspirations in a lot of the times, which might be contrary to our beliefs. But again, people are people, right? They will be as they are. So I find that also quite beautiful. It does not pretend, I guess, uncomplicated and not pretentious would be the other angle of it. I find that quite beautiful. It can be quite relaxing after spending time in like super hectic cities around the world.
I would start with generous. I moved to Kolkata 4 years ago, and I found people that were so welcoming and so warm, and were just giving you their whole and their all to make you feel welcome, in terms of how generous they are with their time, how generous they are with their resources, how generous they are in all of the stories that they want to share with you. So in that way, I think the extent to which people go your way to make you feel welcome and build a relationship is really inspiring from Kolkata.
Ooh, do we have 17 hours to answer this question? No, everything. I honestly would not live anywhere else in the world. I've made this very amply clear multiple times before. As much as I love traveling and I love experiencing new cultures, all of that, Calcutta's home. Calcutta will always be home, and I came back to the city to dedicate my life towards making this city a better place for its young people. And it sounds at this point like a broken record box, because I've said this so many times, on record, off record. But that's why also we built the CCU Festival, because at the end of the day we also find inspiration from people who we least expect it from sometimes. And the CCU Festival, it's coming up right now, and in the last few months that we've been working towards it has been some of the most enriching and nourishing times of my life, I feel. Of late, it's given me newfound purpose in a way that I feel there is a common thread connecting the youth again. We've seen this multiple times. It always happens in a city's history and its graph. Like there's these movements that happen. So there was this entire movement of like youth theatre in Calcutta, which was, when we were growing up, it was a big part. Everyone was part of something, and then that built this whole narrative of the city. Okay, there's a great city for youth theatre. That's died down of late. It's not been there that much. And if you ask people from a different generation, they will have different answers for it. They've all seen their own times. I've heard stories about the nightlife in Park Street, which apparently used to be the greatest place for people to come in on the mornings of on a Saturday morning, party the whole night and go back on a Sunday night, and people from other cities would come and do that. And Roychowdhury said this to me actually at this podcast we're doing. We haven't launched it yet, but hopefully we'll hear about that soon as well, the Make Calcutta Relevant Again podcast. But honestly speaking, this city has so much to offer. There's so much potential, and at the end of the day, no matter what it is, with its own flaws and idiosyncrasies, it's still mine, right? Like it's something that is so core. Like it's the core memories that I've formed in my life. 9 out of 10 of them are related to Calcutta in some way. So everything special about this city. It is, for me, in my own head, it's the most happening, most exuberant, most enthusiastic city, and it's always embraced everything I've done or tried to do with open arms. So, wouldn't be anywhere else.
I think from a more external perspective, as not a Calcuttan.
Not a Calcuttan before, but Calcuttan.
Calcuttan now, not a Calcuttan originally. I would say there is a ready, soft and hard infrastructure for you to be yourself. So the diversity of experiences, the diversity of circles, the diversity of activities, culturally as well as space-wise, that this city offers is really inviting you to be who you want to be. It's a city where it's okay to be a businesswoman. It's a city where it's okay to be a dancer. It's a city where it's okay to live a very fast life and a very slow life all at once.
In fact, it celebrates left of center a lot. Like it celebrates people who are not as per norm. Like it,
yes,
you'd see
you can be who you want to be, really. Yeah. And you get to meet so many different people that will bring you an illustration of that on a daily basis. People who have taken offbeat path, completely different from what you could believe the Indian culture would call the mainstream of becoming a doctor or an engineer. There are so many
people who've done that and then gone offbeat as well, like completely.
There's nothing wrong about it, but you have the choice to be who you want to be. You might spend a little bit of time to crack the city and to find the right people to talk to and to find the right ecosystems to enter in. But once you're out there, you can be who you need to be.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's a very, very now message. It's not a long-term message. We'll save all that for later. But we are doing this festival, the CCU Festival, coming up on the 29th of October at the Taal Kutir Convention Centre. And a lot of very positive energy has gone into that. We've also seen it getting returned time and over many-fold from the youth of the city, from people from outside of the city. And I'm not going to try and dumb down the idea of the festival itself, because by itself it's quite large, and in its scope, in its scale, it's something that Calcutta has never truly witnessed in this scale as a celebration of its spirit, the spirit that I was talking about before, which makes me want to fight for it every living day of my life. And the CCU Festival is a place where we truly believe, the way we've curated it, we truly believe is going to be a phenomenal learning experience for the youth of the city. It's going to be a phenomenal learning experience for everyone who comes in through its doors. It's an all-day celebration, all-day long celebration of the city. 16 hours, 14 events, back to back in multiple locations inside the same venue. And I want to celebrate with all of you. And my message to all of you, if you're watching this video, is that come celebrate with us. Come celebrate with us. Let's change the narrative around this city together, because there's no point of changing the narrative of the city for just people around. Like, we need to create enough noise internally so that people outside take notice. There are national magazines reaching out to us, just hearing about the noise we are generating around the Make Calcutta Relevant Again campaign and the CCU Festival. Why? Because they see for a change that there is potential of like a massive boom in the city's potential to grow and to plummet forward, right? And it's led by young people. It's not led by corporations or organizations or anything. It's only collaborative, led by young people. I think people can relate. If you're watching this, come be a part of it. Not just this year, year on year, we're building it as a yearly IP. And it's not just about the festival. Once the festival is done, with the learnings that you take, I want you guys to implement that in your lives. Become more financially stable, become more financially literate, create more economic opportunities. Let's help you create more economic opportunities. It doesn't matter if you are an upcoming entrepreneur, an artist, a startup, a dancer, singer, does not matter. As long as you care about the city enough and you believe in its potential to really change your life, we're there with you. That's my only message for today. Pauline.
My message would be, what we observe is that quite a few people leave the city or think they have to leave the city for especially better career opportunities, economic opportunities. But they never leave the city wanting to leave the city.
Because everyone wants to come back at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, if they thought they had the choice, they would stay in Kolkata. They would stay with their family. They would stay in with their friends. They would stay with the city that they've grown up in, right? So the choice of leaving is never an embraced choice, or very rarely so, right? So my point here is, my main message is, stay around. Don't believe what you don't see. That is, usually you believe that nothing is happening because you don't take the time to research, because you don't take the time to take interest and curiosity into what actually is happening around you, which would end up convincing you that a lot of things are moving up in Kolkata. And the CCU Festival is a great way for you to get convinced by that. Come and meet us, come and meet all of the ecosystem that is making Kolkata today and tomorrow. And don't give up because somehow you've gotten the message that nothing is happening, because it is a false perception. As I told you earlier, there is a lack of good packaging and good communication about what everything is happening around the city, but this is very deceptive in a way. So come and experience it with your own eyes and make your own opinion on what's actually happening in the city.
Yeah, I really hope you all find inspiration in this city after this, as we do, which is why we do what we do at the end of the day. And
if I have found my way, you can find yours. You're much better positioned in your own city to make your own way the way you want here.
Yeah. Let's make Calcutta relevant again.